Good evening, and thanks for joining us for the AEW All Out Virtual Media Scrum, live from Daly's Place in Jacksonville. First up, we have AEW Women's World Champion Shida. And the first question is from Bill Pritchard at WrestleZone. Bill?
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, so I wanted to ask, going into this match, you had a few weeks where you knew Thunder Rosa was going to be your opponent, but did that change your game plan at all, going in knowing that she wasn't somebody that you've had on the roster before? Like, you haven't had a chance to face her before?
Okay, I'll give her some translation. 要はサンダーローザが今回オールアウトかこれ。オールアウトで挑戦することになったわけだけど、そのサンダーローザが相手になるっていうことが決まってから、例えば戦い方を、いつもと戦い方を変えるというか、自分のゲームプランを変えたりしましたか？
Actually, I didn't, because she's also the champion in Japan, and I know she knows Japanese style well, so yeah, I didn't, but I just trying to keep hard and 気持ちを強くってなんて言うんですかね。
Hard and stay strong? Maybe.
Yeah, hard and stay strong. Yeah, that's just I thinking.
Thanks. The next question is from Darren Paltrowitz at The Hype.
Thank you very much for having me. Shida, what is your favorite part of working with AEW?
Oh, there are a lot, but yeah, in Japan, wrestling, professional wrestling is not so big work. So I'm very happy because so many people watch my match, and yeah, I can reach to all over the world.
Great. The last question is from Jim Barcelone. Sorry, not the last question. The next question is from Jim Barcelone. Jim?
Thank you. How did you feel the match went, and what was it like working with Thunder Rosa?
試合をどう感じますか？
サンダーローザと試合をしてどう感じましたかっていう。
はい。That was so tough. And yeah, I wanted the strong, tough, passionate challenger, but she's
More than that.
Yeah, she's
she
more than
wanted
that, and
she wanted the challenger to be somebody strong, tough, and passionate. That's what she was asking for, but she was more than that. That's what she is saying.
I'm so sorry, my bad English.
No. She's good. Was
That's okay. And the last question is from Amy Nemedy at WrestleJoy. Amy?
Yes. Hi, Ishida. I was
Hi.
curious, who do you have your eyes set on next for your next championship defense in AEW?
Of course, Naira is now ranking 1. Yeah, she's number 1, and yeah, I always want to rematch against her. Yeah, and Big Swole is great too. So Yeah, I have so many wrestlers who I want to fight. I can. I. 誰でもいいよってなんて言ったらいいですかね。
Oh, she's ready to wrestle anybody. Yeah. Anybody on the roster.
Great. Thank you so much, Sita. Much appreciated.
Thank you. I apologize. My English is so bad, but I want to try. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's it.
So, yep. Thank you very much. And please stand by for a few minutes. We're going to bring John Moxley in. Hey there, John.
Hello?
Hey, John. How you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
Okay.
you. Excellent. How you doing? So with us now is John Moxley. And the first question is from Justin Barrasso at Sports Illustrated. Justin? Justin Barrasso?
Kind of operation we running here.
Sorry, Justin can't ask his question. He hasn't done his pin, so he can't ask a question.
Okay, we can go to the next one, which is Nick Hausman from Wrestle. Nick Hausman?
And Nick, you need to unmute yourself.
Hey, John, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
John, thank you so much for taking the time. Congratulations on your successful title defense tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I wanted to ask you something a little outside of what happened in the match tonight, something outside the ring. A lot of buzz around your wife, Renee Young. Any chance we could see her in your corner in AEW anytime soon?
I don't think she wants to get anywhere near my corner. She don't like blood and shit. But right now, the thing with that is that she has a extensive no compete clause to go to another wrestling company. But it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility. It wouldn't surprise me at all for her to do, as a jack of all trades, for her to be pop in and do something, be a presenter or a host or for something. I mean, she's backstage. She was sitting in the crowd tonight, so she's around. If it wasn't for the no compete, she could have popped on camera tonight if she wanted to. But ultimately, her main goals and interests lie kind of outside of wrestling. But I expect her to kind of have her toe dipped in because she's so ingrained in wrestling and so many wrestling fans follow her. So I assume she'll have her toe dipped in some way. But I want her to get that Katie Couric, Good Morning America gig, so I get just have a sugar mama,
Dangor.
Anybody there?
Mandy, you might want to repeat who it was. You cut out.
Louis Dangor.
Hi, John. How are you?
What's up, Bruce?
So obviously your last or sort of two main title defenses were against Lance Archer and Brian Cage. Sorry, not Lance Archer. Brody Lee and Brian Cage. How was it for you, the difference in facing someone like MJF and the difference in your preparation for the matches I just mentioned and then your match with MJF?
Yeah, that's the great thing about man, that's one of the fun things about wrestling, man, is the different opponents and different styles. And I think I think I can adapt to anybody's style and big guys. I love working with a small guy like Darby Allin and doing, I do lucha head arm scissors and bullshit like that. I also love working with just a straight up ass kicker like Brody Lee and just have a tooth and nail fight. And then, a classic old school wrestler like MJF was pretty cool to work with because, I get a lot of people think of me one way, but I was trained in the Les Thatcher system. I was trained calling in the ring, old school, tackle, head down, tackle, get it again, 60s style pro wrestling. So I love that old school classic style, so we were able to kind of blend it's fun to kind of blend your style with somebody else's and see what kind of wacky cocktail you can come up with. So it was interesting to have a different style of opponent than some of these monsters I've been facing. And it was cool too to have a nice however long many weeks build up. And the last pay-per-view was just kind of we didn't even know if we're going to do the pay-per-view. Guys were stuck in quarantine. Guys were stuck in New York. I hadn't even been on TV. And it was just like, we got to throw this together. And what do you Brody Lee? I'm like, hell yeah, I love Brody. So, and I love that match, and I love everything about that match, but it's, a 3-week build is, not ideal. This, we had a nice, good build and a good story, and all the elements all came into place. And it was a nice little taste of MJF's first taste of what it takes to win a world title.
Thanks. Next question is from Justin Schigel from 98 Rock. Justin?
Mr. Moxley, again, congratulations on a fantastic match, a fantastic title defense this evening. That is your 5th, I believe, between Hager, Brody Lee, Cage, Allen, and MJF. Is there anybody on your record that you'd like to get some sort of repentance, revenge against that you might have lost to in the past now that you're sort of the king of the hill of AEW? Any loss you'd like to scratch off your record, maybe prior to AEW, any prior companies before that to come in and get that off your record?
In AEW, there ain't nobody that's pinned me or submit me. I think the only loss I had was DQ, where I walked out on my own tag partner. So there's no really an AEW that I can think of that I can't think of any repentance. But anybody who's got anybody who I got unfinished business with, there's so many guys I want to, tangle with, and I'll have to, have to keep some of that close to the vest, but I got my eyes on a lot of very specific opponents and specific stories I want to tell. And it's just, I'm really, wrestling is a lot like, something like surfing where, sometimes you're waiting for a wave. Sometimes you're riding a big ass wave. Sometimes you're riding a medium wave. Sometimes there ain't no wave at all. And sometimes you get off a wave and you're waiting for the next one to come in. Right now I'm riding a really big ass wave, and I don't know when it's going to stop. It'll stop one day, but right now I'm really enjoying riding this wave.
Thanks. Next question is from Scott Fishman from TV Insider. Scott?
Hey, John. So we saw Thunder Rosa, working tonight, which is great to see the relationship with the NWA. What are your thoughts on, the more companies, AEW working with more companies and yourself kind of challenge, defending the title in other companies, the AEW championship, or going for other titles and having that freedom?
I love that idea. 2020 for me was going to be an absolutely crazy, ambitious schedule. And I only had the first half of it worked out. I feel like 2019, I only really had half the year. My first match as John Moxley was in June. So I only had really 6 months to work. I was like, now I got a full 12 months to work. I'm AEW World Champion. I'm going to take that belt all over the world, in Europe, whatever it would be, Australia, take it to Japan if need be, take it to I was, going to kind of try to do like an old school world champion thing and take the belt around and really make it into I love that idea of working with the NWA, of working with any other. I think it'd be cool, man, if all these like Ring of Honor, Impact, New Japan, if the more talent trading back and forth, I'm not shy about the fact that I wish we had some type of agreement with New Japan. I'm obviously still a part of that roster, and I think there's a lot of benefits to. I'm not saying we're obviously different companies and with different products and different business plans. So it's not like we got to be married at the hip or anything like that, or But maybe throw a New Japan guy pops up for here or there, or some of our young guys go over and do a Super Junior tournament to gain experience. I think that'd be great for everybody. So I'm all about that. I'll take this belt anywhere they want me to take it.
Thanks. Next question is from Sean Rossap from Fightful.
Hey, John, thanks for taking the time. There was a lot made of the humidity tonight, even with the crowd. There were multiple people in the crowd saying that they were kind of worn down. Did you feel that in the ring? And if so, how much did you feel it in the ring?
Shit, yeah, I felt that. I'm glad you asked that question. I knew this morning. My wife went outside to take the garbage out and was like, it's like extra humid today. And that was at like 10 in the morning. I went, great. That's a great sign for today because it is hot. All these tapings. So if I don't want to get, this is a shout out to all the men and women in AEW that are out there busting their ass at Daly's place in the summer. It is so hot and so humid. Today was especially humid. I had to walk up 37 million flights of steps because they want me to do this entrance from the top of the stadium. That's all cool and well. But as soon as I walk out, I've been sweating all day, I've sweat through 4 shirts today. I'm horribly dehydrated right now. So I had to walk up 40 million flights of stairs. I get to the top of the stairs. I'm completely fully in a full sweat. I'm got ice on my head. I'm trying to stay cool. And I haven't even gone to the ring yet. So 2 minutes into that sucker, I was like, oh my God, it is hot. It's like a soul sucking humidity. It's not even like you're out of breath, like you're blown up or anything. It's nothing like that. It's just it's like you're in quicksand. Like it just sucks your soul. Oh man. But that's what all the great champions and great athletes here at AEW do is suck it up and get through it. And it is hot. So please keep that in mind when you're watching all the great men and women at AEW. We are suffering in horrible humidity right now.
Thanks, John. Next question is from Sean Radican from Pro Wrestling Torch. Sean? Sean, question? We can come back to you. Okay, let's go with Ryan Satin at Pro Wrestling Sheet. Ryan?
Hey, what's up, John? Great match tonight.
Appreciate it.
So what do you think about MJ after wrestling him tonight?
He's obviously, got a long way to go, and the thing we learned tonight is very simple. Cheaters never win. You don't win championships by taking shortcuts. He was out wrestling me at times out there. He was sticking to his game plan perfectly. He had my arm all messed up, shoulder popped out of socket. If he'd have just sucked it up and stuck to his game plan, he might have walked out as world champion tonight. But he tried to take a shortcut. And that just, it never works out for you when you take shortcuts. It's like the things, your parents taught you that you never listened to. Measure twice, cut once, always break down your cardboard, stuff like that. But he's going to be, as I've said before, he'll be on top of this company long after I'm gone.
Thanks. Next question is Emily Pratt from Fanbite. Emily?
Emily, you need to unmute yourself.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, thanks. So you started out the year wrestling Lance Archer at the Tokyo Dome, and now he's a contender for your championship. How do you feel about facing him again?
I was trying not to pay much attention to that battle royal because I'm like, I gotta focus on one task at a time. That's how my brain works. So, but like I said, all different styles and opponents, and I want them all. So seeing Lance Archer win, I'm like, oh God, they just keep getting bigger, and oh my God. And I faced Lance Archer before at the Tokyo Dome in the Texas Death Match, one of my favorite matches this year. We beat the absolute holy hell out of each other. But if you go back to if you see the last end of that match, he's lying, all 7 foot of him is lying broken, bleeding in a pile of broken tables, and I walked out with the belt. So I think ultimately I don't see it playing out any differently, although I do recognize that this is an even more dangerous Lance Archer than I faced 8 months ago, because he not only just keeps getting better and just since the last year or so when he's really just really stepped up his game, and he's a true dominator monster now. And he's got the coaching or expertise or the advocacy of Jake the Snake Roberts, who I'm sure will be trying to play some mind games with me and maybe trade a little work on the microphone with the great Jake the Snake Roberts. So that's intriguing. So after I'm going to get good and fucking drunk tonight, but then tomorrow morning we start working on Lance Archer.
Thanks. And the last question is from Gary Cassidy at Sportskeeda. Gary?
Hi, John. Thanks for taking the time. So you mentioned walking up all those stairs for that entrance. Another thing that happened on that entrance was the fan running towards you. I saw that you turned back after that. What were your thoughts on that? Have you got any message to fans that are going to run at Superstars during this time?
It's never a good idea. I'm glad they got that on camera. They said they cut away, but I was like, man, you should put that on camera because people should know what happens when you try to do something like that. Especially we're in a pandemic. I don't want your fucking gnarly ass getting near me. I don't even think he was trying to attack me. I think he was trying to just celebrate with me, like, yeah, rock and roll, Moxley. Never a good idea. And shout out to Charlie, my man. He also spray painted my jacket tonight. Jack of all trades, Charlie. He's the guy who does just about everything backstage here at AEW. And he fucking speared that motherfucker. That was awesome. So it startled me for a second. I went, whoa, what can you do? It's live TV. That's happened to me several times.
Thanks so much, John. Appreciate it.
Anytime. Thank you, ma'am. All right. Those are going to be good and sweaty.
Hello, Tony. Thanks
Hey,
very
man.
much, everyone. Joining us now is Tony Khan, President and CEO of AEW. Tony has some opening remarks, and then we'll move on to the Q&A. Tony?
Thank you. I've never had to give opening remarks before the scrum, and usually the scrums are really fun. I just wanted to give a note at the beginning and say that, health and safety of the wrestlers is always the most important thing at AEW. And I just wanted to give everybody an update on Matt Hardy, and that is most importantly, Matt is okay and looks like Matt's going to be okay. What happened with Matt was Matt had taken a fall in the match, and I stopped the match, paused the match, and sent the doctor to check on him. And I was concerned that Matt could be hurt, so I rang the bell to pause the match. And then when the doctor checked on him, the doctor had passed him and cleared him on the protocol. He checked with Matt, and then Matt had come back after, and he's passed the concussion protocol, and he's doing okay. I spoke to him right after the match, and then again just now. He went as a precaution to the hospital just for tests to check out that he's okay, but it looks like he's okay, which is why the doctor cleared him to continue. It was not something any of us enjoyed, and it was something that was a scary moment. But the most important thing is that Matt is okay, and we're all really glad about that. And thank you very much to everybody for giving me a moment to say that. Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. We have a few questions. The first question is from Justin Barrasso at Sports Illustrated. Justin?
Sure. Tony, thanks for the opportunity to ask. I'm going to follow up on the Hardy-Guevara match.
Sure.
Just for a little more clarification, and thank you for touching on that. It looked like Hardy was adamant that he continue, which in that tenuous situation is completely understandable, but also highlights the reason why there's a medical team in place to make those decisions. It's really tough because you're in real time on pay-per-view. It looked, from the blind eye, like the medical team may have been overruled, Was there time to make a proper decision?
Yes, there was time. It was a good amount of time, Justin. So yeah, there was. I'm sorry. If you have another question, please follow up with it. But I just want to let you know.
Okay. Thanks.
Great. Okay. Well, the doctor did clear him. Matt did not pressure him, and Dr. Sampson would not be pressured into clearing anybody. He's pulled people from our shows without hesitation, whether it's been, for over something with a blood test or with an injury. And he's really strict about that stuff. And that's why when people have had injuries that he didn't feel comfortable about people doing physicality or wrestling with, we never put those people out there. So I never would have gone against the doctor's decision. And most importantly, Matt would not have been able to overrule the doctor's decision, not with the doctor himself or with me. And so that is what happened. The doctor cleared him, which is the first and foremost important thing. Matt also did want to continue, but the doctor cleared him. So at that point, when the doctor cleared him to continue, Matt clearly wanted to continue. That's why we continued.
Thanks. Okay, next question is from Joel Torres from Contralona. Joel?
Hi, Tony. How you doing?
I'm good, Joel. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to ask you, here, I'm from Puerto Rico, and we have seen a lot of talents from Puerto Rico, Mexico, and Cuba, and other places in AEW. I want to ask you, is this something that we are going to see continuously in AEW? I know, they're having a great spotlight here in All Elite Wrestling. What are your thoughts about that?
Thank you so much for saying that. I love all the performers that are classified under what you said. I think we have some great performers with the background that you are interested in, and I think it's great that you like those wrestlers. I definitely think you'll see a lot more of Santana and Ortiz, the Lucha Brothers, and Sammy and other people I think you're referring to. The Lucha Brothers, I think, are two of the best luchadors in the world. They're a great tag team, but I think they're both great singles wrestlers. And I am a big fan of Lucha Libre. And, I'm always on the lookout for the next big luchador. And so as far as performers from Mexico, we do keep an eye on them. We've worked with AAA in the past. I also watch a lot of CMLL, both, recently and historically. I've watched a lot of CMLL over the years. And in Puerto Rico, has got a great history of wrestling. And absolutely, I'd love to get stars from Puerto Rico too. That's a great question. Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. Next question is from Connor Casey at Comic Book.
Hey, Tony, appreciate you doing this tonight. Really, really awesome show. John mentioned it during his interview just now. I talked to Kenny a couple weeks ago. He said the same thing, and then it's the humidity there in Jacksonville has been a bit debilitating. Have you been given any sort of update as to when you guys will be allowed to start performing inside of indoors and start touring again? Has there been any update on that front?
We're allowed to perform indoors. It's a choice. I think pushing hydration very hard. There have been a lot of lectures. The doctors strongly push it. I've strongly pushed it. And the coaches and referees strongly push everybody. And we push the referees and coaches and all of us to drink a lot of water, which is why we have literally thousands and thousands of water bottles around here. And it was certainly no shortage of supply of water bottles around Daly's place tonight. And any of the shows we do for that matter, we've really been pushing it. And, the heat and humidity is in the summer, typically very high in Jacksonville, but COVID-19 has been, first and foremost, in addition to really, to be honest with you, I think it's better to be outdoors and try to manage the heat and utilizing, hydration. This is the same environment many football teams play in, and teams play outdoors. But furthermore, outdoor, the risk of the spread of the virus is far, far, far lower. And everybody here has been tested. But for safety, I think the best thing to do is run outdoor shows. And we've been running outdoor shows for months. And I think it's the best environment, even though there are some drawbacks with obviously the climate. Frankly, being outside in the open air is a big positive for what we're trying to achieve and keep everybody safe and minimize the spread of COVID.
Thanks. Next question is from Bill Apter at One Wrestling. Bill.
Tony Khan.
Hey,
Good
Bill.
to see you. So I have two really quick questions. First of all, you said that you were going to go out and put on the best pay-per-view. Was this that pay-per-view you dreamed about?
It was a great pay-per-view. Yeah, I thought it was a great all-out, and this was a pay-per-view I dreamed about. I had a scary moment. We all had a scary moment. I was scared for Matt. I've never rang the bell on a match before, and never paused a match before, and never been in that position. We've sent the doc out many times to check on people, but never where I was going to stop the match until I knew that it was good to continue and had the okay from both the wrestler and the doctor. And
Sure.
That was a scary moment. But I thought it was a great show. In terms of the rest of the show, I loved it. I'd love to talk about everything else. We've talked about that, and I can still talk about that. But I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the main event that just came on. John Moxley and MJF. It was just unbelievable. Those guys had such a great match, and I'm really, really happy for both of them because that was a great pay-per-view main event. Again, being outside, it was a big show. There were a lot of big matches. It was a very, very hot night. There was some crazy stuff. I mean, between obviously us having a scary moment with Matt, and then fan trying to make a beeline at John. And thank God, security. That's at all sporting events. That's why you have to have a ton of security. And here we brought a ton of security, and for the safety of the performers. Also, frankly, we had an increased security presence to enforce mask wearing. And we had a great team up there, and the AEW staff actually were the ones that were on top of that, and they did a great job. So that was a great moment. But in terms of the wrestling, yeah, I loved this pay-per-view. Britt Baker and Swole, what they did was, I thought was really fun. It was there were limitations. Britt was coming off of serious leg injury and hadn't done any physicality until this past week. And that was why, for a lot of reasons, I think it made a lot of sense to protect her in this match. But at the same time, I thought her ideas were great, and I thought it may be a polarizing match for some people. I really enjoyed it, and I thought for all the people that wanted to see it on the pay-per-view, it'd be great. And the Young Bucks match was excellent. The Jurassic Express and the Young Bucks have incredible chemistry. We've seen them in the six-man tag recently. It was excellent on Dynamite, and I thought that really that was a great match to start the live part, live in Daly's Place aspect of All Out. And then I really, really loved the world title matches across the board. Shida and Thunder Rosa was tremendous. Thank you, Billy, for putting something together and sending your champion, Thunder Rosa. I thought she did very well. And then the world tag team title match was tremendous. I really, really enjoyed it. It was everything I think we thought that title match could be, and FTR, great tag champs, and then Moxley and MJF killed it. I thought they were awesome, and it was a great main event. So I loved the show, even though there were a couple of moments where I was nervous.
Thanks. Next up, we have AJ. AJ, question for Tony?
Hello. My question for Tony is, we've seen Matt Cardona a few times on AEW Dynamite and the pay-per-view. Is he getting signed to AEW soon?
It's a really good question, AJ. That's like you've got a great question, and we'll see. We'll have to see. I can't say 100%. I can't speak for Matt, but I can speak for us that I've had a great experience working with Matt, and I hope he's really enjoyed it here. And I think Matt would be a great person in AEW, but we'll have to see. It's not done yet either way. But it's a great question, AJ. Thank you, man.
Okay, we've got John Alba from Spectrum Sports.
Hey, Tony, I really appreciate you taking the time. Quickly on the first front, one more thing on Matt Hardy. Was there any hesitance to allow him to climb the scaffolding after you did stop the match? I understand he did pass the protocol, but to still have him work such a dangerous stunt after that. And then you had mentioned that the Thunder Rosa match was the one that you had been really most looking forward to. what kind of precedence would you have on working further with Thunder Rosa down the line?
Okay, sure. I'll take the first question first, I guess that's okay. There, as far as that goes, yes, I was extremely concerned about that because I knew that was going to happen. So yeah, I was very concerned about that, and that's why I paused it, because I didn't feel good until I got a clearance that this is definitely okay with you to do that. And so that's why I paused the match, which again we've never done. But I thought, given what was ahead and what he would probably want to be doing in this match, I would be on very cautious by sending the doctor to check. And like I said, it was a nervous moment and a scary moment, but that is why, like you said, knowing what these guys do and what they were thinking, I wanted to be sure that he was cleared to keep going. And then on Thunder Rosa, I think she's tremendous. I would love to bring her back. I can't speak for the NWA if they'd like to send her back, but she's a great wrestler and she's a great credit to her company. And she did not win the AEW title tonight, but I think she is a great champion, and I would love to work with her again. It's not all up to me, but if I could work something out with Billy, I'd love to have Thunder Rosa come back.
Next question is from Stephanie Franchome from Steel Chair.
Hi, Tony.
Hi, Stephanie.
Sorry, 6:30 in France, so I'm a little out there. I wanted to talk about the Tooth and Nail, because when we did the media call on Thursday, we were talking about from the main show, you pushed it to Dubai, and finally we learned yesterday or today that it was coming back to the main show. So what happened and what made it this extraordinary moment? I'm going to the dentist on Monday. I will fear it forever. But what made this change? What made this change happen? Thank you.
I was at the dentist's office when we were filming I was really enjoying it, and I was there and I was keeping an eye on the timing. And after we finished filming, I looked at the timing of it, and I know what was in the show, and I wanted to be conservative. And I also felt like going into it, I wasn't sure how much Britt was going to be able to do. So if it was going to be something where I didn't feel comfortable, asking people to pay for it, I wouldn't have put it on the show. And that's why I didn't want to take a chance. It was definitely for storyline and for a lot of reasons. It was something we wanted to do. And I thought it was a great moment for Swole. And I thought it was an incredible performance by Britt. And I was really happy for both of them. And as I was there watching it and we'd gone through this, they were doing such an amazing job, the two of them. And I was there, with Kenny Omega, Jerry Lynn, and Dustin Rhodes and a camera crew. And I thought about it and I looked around and I had my, my show format and I timed the shows, and I looked through and said, you know what, let's put this on the main show. I think I'm going to do it. I really like what they're doing. I think this was a great match. And now that I know that there's time and we can work it in, then yeah, let's do it. And I think you saw it was a long show tonight, and I just wanted to make sure that we'd be able to actually literally fit it in the pay-per-view window. And we were able to, and it was great. And most importantly, they got through it, and I was really glad Swole got such a big win. And I was happy for Britt that she's cleared to come back, and she had this big match that I thought, even though she didn't win the match, she was showcased in such a unique way. And there's nobody else in wrestling that could have done what she did in this match. Is like the horror movie villain in so many ways, the evil dentist, but also she's just a great performer. She's a great wrestler and a great person. But that's why I changed my mind.
Thanks. We've got Sean Laylos from Monsters and Critics.
Hey, Tony, how you doing?
Good, Sean. Thanks, man.
Enjoyed the show. It's hard to believe it's been almost a year since the TV show started, Dynamite. I mean, you're coming up on your second year now, starting up. I was looking at some of the new people you guys have signed. I was listening to Homicide on Chris Jericho's podcast, talk about how he came in and wrestled Cody and he impressed you guys. You guys gave him a job. I mean, he had just sold his boots and his tights just to pay rent, and now he has a contract. He's able to actually.
Yeah.
I said homicide. I think I didn't mean homicide.
You
I
said
meant
homicide, but I knew you meant Eddie Kingston. Yeah.
Eddie Kingston. But talk a little bit. I mean, he was the.
We have the other guys from that. We have the other guys from that LAX thing.
Yeah, LAX. Yeah. So Eddie,
we don't call him that here, but that's what.
No, you don't. You don't. That's true. Eddie was the last one eliminated in the Battle Royal. So I mean, that was a pretty big deal for him. Talk a little bit about him. Talk a little bit about some of the other new wrestlers that you brought in that were competing on the pay-per-view tonight as you're going into this second year on TV.
We have really good eyes for talent around here. The people that work here do a great job scouting, and people make suggestions, and it's not that easy to get hired here. I think, like, especially at this point through the pandemic, people are getting hired on merit. And Eddie's a great example. I've talked at length about Ricky, but with Eddie, it was a similar situation to with Ricky Starks. Cody had come in with ideas for possible opponents that he could work TNT title matches with, and I looked at his lists. The first wave, by far my favorite name in that first batch was Ricky Starks. And then we got into another one, and I really liked Eddie Kingston. I'd never met either one of them. Eddie's work I was much more familiar with in a lengthier career, but I'd seen both of them. Actually, I'd seen both of them on the NWA also. And, I really liked both guys, but I wanted to see in person before we made a big commitment. And both guys just crushed it. I mean, it was really like a tryout match. And we do stuff like that all the time. Bring people in and give them an opportunity to sink or swim. And frankly, even if you don't sign somebody, it doesn't mean they sank. You really, really, really have to swim at a very, very, very high level to walk back and have me, want to sign somebody like that. And in case of Eddie, I thought he was great in the match. And also it was a situation where we have the Lucha Brothers who, Pac is in England. And I thought Eddie could work a storyline with them. And Eddie would also be great with the Butcher and the Blade. Butcher and the Blade and the Lucha Brothers were in the 8-man at Fyter Fest with FTR and the Young Bucks. And so I just had a light bulb after the match. Originally, Ricky was a little bit more of a light bulb. Ricky was in the ring with Cody. And it was like, oh, this guy's great. This is what you'll do with him. And, that's where Ricky is now. It's like on the spot, it was pretty obvious. But with Eddie, he had this great match. And I knew we could do something with Eddie. His promos are so good, and he's got such good presence, and he's a great wrestler. And so that's, with Eddie, it took a little bit longer to come up with the idea as opposed to Ricky right away. But a lot of great people coming into AEW. There's more great people coming into AEW. I think we've got something fun planned for Wednesday. I think everyone will enjoy speculating on who Kip Sabian's best man for his wedding might be. And the wedding is a ways off. I think we have the bachelor party first, but that's going to be fun. And I'm constantly looking at new talent. We have great eyes here. I can't say enough about Cody and the Young Bucks and Kenny, all the people that they've suggested, Jericho too. So many of the top people here are people that they brought up in the first place, and those people have done an amazing job. And, I'm really proud of the system we have.
Great. Next question, Scott Fishman from TV Insider.
Hey, Tony. How's it going?
Good, Scott. How are you?
Good. So we talked about Thunder Rosa and just the great match that she had with Shida. Fans are so passionate about women's wrestling. A lot of fans have wanted to see more women's wrestling on Dynamite and other AEW shows. What do you say to them about kind of just finding the balance of women on the show and having those women's matches, but also making it matter as well?
Well, the match that Thunder Rosa had with Serena Deeb this past week, was one of the best matches we've had on Dynamite in a long time, and not just women's matches. It was a great match. Might have been the match of the night, and it was really, really a tremendous match. And I think we got to keep consistently great matches like the ones we've been having. And for me, I am always looking to add more programming. I would always like to add more hours of programming. It's no secret that we are looking to add a third hour of television on TNT, which will open up more opportunities for people on the roster. But we're also looking at adding more series, streaming properties, and I'd like to expand the roster, and I'd also like to expand our programming to give more hours in the week for the roster to perform, and I think there's demand for it.
Last question from Justin Schullegal at 98 Rock, Baltimore. Justin?
Tony, really appreciate your time tonight. Fantastic pay-per-view, as they always tend to be. And I want to get back to something that you just touched on prior with Kip Sabian. Really funny segment about the upcoming bachelor party and the wedding. And at the very end, you had a nice little bit about some of his social media and streaming services, which I know a lot of people have been discussing in the past couple of days with one of your competitors actually shuttering it and shutting it down and sort of squashing it. What is AEW's official stance on your wrestlers' secondary and tertiary revenue streams such as Cameo, Twitch, YouTube? What's your stance on your performers and your entertainers turning to those sources of revenue and entertainment to reach out to their fans?
It's a very topical question. It's a good question. And it's come up recently for a lot of wrestlers. For our people, I don't want people to be concerned that I'm going to stop them from trying to monetize their Twitch or even, appearance money and things of that nature. I think there are gray areas, and I think, all of these different mediums, all these platforms are different, and I probably have different answers on different platforms. I think some sponsorship stuff is a gray area. If one of your big star wrestlers was to go try and get like a Pepsi sponsorship under their Twitch and not as a wrestler, you'd be like, well, that seems like you're trying to circumvent the company maybe. But for the most part, I think that, I support people going out and trying to go out on Twitch and monetizing that platform. And I'm okay with people monetizing their YouTube, which I think is very clear here because a lot of people have YouTube shows. And famously, being the Elite, the Young Buck show is not on the AEW channel, but we support it and our wrestlers are all over it. And but it's not AEW show. And I think a lot of our wrestlers have their own vlogs and shows and social media properties. So it's a great question. I think Kip wanted to have some fun, and I thought it was fun. Kip is big on Twitch, and that's one. I don't know every platform. I'm not on every platform, but that's one platform I know is really popular and Kip loves, and I'm not gonna try and stop him from using it. So I guess that's kind of it. I think it's different, depending on what platform you're talking about and how you're addressing it, and I definitely think I wouldn't tell people they can't do anything outside the company, though. That seems too unfair and pretty strong policy. I don't know, and I'm not saying anybody else has that policy, but as far as like saying you can't do anything outside of what we're doing, I wouldn't do that.
Thanks very much, Tony. And thanks to everyone for joining us tonight. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we're looking forward to seeing you at the next one. Thanks again, and have a great night.
Thanks, everybody. Great to see you.